You're 19, white-knuckling 80,000 pounds down a mountain grade you're not sure the brakes can hold. A stranger asleep in the bunk 2 feet behind your head. 20 years later, you're threading an oversized load through a sleeping city at 3 a.m. with inches to spare on both mirrors. Between those two moments is a freight economy that hauls roughly 72% of everything America buys, a marriage that ended by text message, and a body carrying 100 pounds it never asked for. This is every level of a trucker's life. You're 19. Your first driving job pays about $500 a week, and you're not even alone in the truck yet. You just spent somewhere between $3,500 and $10,500 on CDL school over about 7 weeks. And now you're a student, riding team with a trainer who owns the bunk, the radio, and the rules. The truck never stops. He drives, you drive, and you sleep in an 80-mile-an-hour box that pitches and shudders on every seam in the road. You don't really sleep at all. The old hands have a name for you: steering wheel holder. That's all you are yet, a warm body pointing the thing straight while the person who actually knows how to drive gets his 10 hours. The cab smells like another man's feet and gas station burritos. You've never been this far from home or this tired. The humiliation comes at a fuel island. You try to back into a slot and you cannot make it go. You pull up, you crank the wheel the wrong way, the trailer swings toward a parked reefer, and a semicircle of veterans leans on their hoods and watches you saw at it for 45 minutes. One of them slow claps. It is not gentle out here. In 2024, the BLS counted 798 heavy and tractor-trailer drivers killed on the job, more than almost any other occupation in America. Then one night, you set up a blindside back, no pull-up, right down the line the first time. The trainer doesn't even look up from his phone. Good enough. 2 words. You could live on them for a week. You're 23. You're solo now, a company driver. Welcome to the only job where the clock decides your worth and the clock never blinks. The national median wage for heavy and tractor-trailer drivers is $57,440 a year, but you're a rookie earning closer to 50 grand, and you're paid by the mile, which means when the wheels aren't turning, you aren't earning. You'll sit 4 hours at a receiver's dock for free and call it Tuesday. Your whole life is federal now. 11 hours of drive time, a 14-hour clock, and an ELD in the dash logging every second so you can't cheat it even when the load's due and you're 40 minutes short. Home is about 80 square feet. You live in it for 3 weeks at a stretch, you eat in it, you shower at truck stops, and your body keeps the tab. 69% of long-haul drivers are obese versus 31% of the country, and diabetes runs at double the national rate. You buy your own comfort: bedding, a 12-volt fridge, a power inverter, a good GPS, gloves, load straps, a decent seat cushion, a few $1,000s just to make the box livable. And to keep the eyes open, you do what the road does: energy drinks by the 4-pack, a can of chew in the door, cigarettes you didn't smoke before, 51% of drivers do, and caffeine pills for the last 2 hours nobody should be driving. Then you learn the language. You run OTR. You deadhead empty to the next load and bobtail with no trailer at all. You pull a reefer, you live in the hammer lane. You slow for the chicken coop because a bear is working it, and you curse the four-wheeler who just cut you off doing 80. You answer dispatch with 10-4. And that language is the only thing keeping you and your trailer off the hammer lane guardrail in the next 4 seconds. You're 30. You've got a hazmat endorsement, a tanker endorsement, and 1 million safe miles behind you. You make around $78,000 a year running hard. You are now responsible for 80,000 pounds of momentum, for everything that can go wrong on a wet grade, and you get credit for none of the 10,000 times a day nothing does. Your day is the pre-trip inspection, the fuel stops, the scale houses, the log that has to be perfect, the load that has to be there. 70 hours a week, and weeks between the times you sleep in your own bed. This is where it breaks. Trucking carries a divorce rate around 40.5%, among the highest of any industry, and the road is lonely in a way that shows up in the numbers. 28% of drivers report loneliness, 27% depression. Your body files its own complaints. There's the hip and the knee that seize from 10 hours in a seat. There's the swelling in your legs from never moving. There's sleep apnea, which hits about 28% of commercial drivers, the machine hissing beside your head in the bunk. And 38% of long-haul drivers carry no health insurance at all, versus 17% of everyone else. So mostly, you just don't go to the doctor. Then one night, you thread a 14-foot-wide load through a downtown built for horses, no scratches, and the dispatcher who's seen everyone says, "That's why we send you." And for that 1 second, it's worth everything. You're 38. Your name is on the door of your own truck now, an owner-operator, leased onto a carrier that finds you the freight. On paper, you gross between $200,000 and $350,000 a year, which sounds like a different life until you learn the second number. The average owner-operator nets around $64,524 after everything, because it costs about $2.26 a mile just to turn the key. You don't just drive anymore. You're the mechanic pricing a clutch, the dispatcher chasing a backhaul, the accountant filing IFTA fuel taxes at a rest stop at midnight. You miss when it was just the road and the wheel and somebody else's problem waiting at the dock. Now, every problem is yours, and every one of them has a dollar sign. The math is merciless. Fuel, insurance at $8,000 to $15,000 a year, tires at $600 apiece, and a maintenance reserve you raid every time you build it. One thrown rod on an engine is a $25,000 week you didn't plan for. Then the big one lands. Your motor starts knocking on a grade in Wyoming at 2 a.m., 100 miles from the nearest shop, with a just-in-time load that a Fortune 500 plant is already counting on. You limp it to a truck stop. You shut it down, you don't call anyone, and you find out 3 weeks later, alone, on your phone, in the bunk, whether that repair bill just ate the whole quarter. You're 45. You do the thing that scares every driver who's smart enough to be scared. You get your own authority, your own MC number, your own name on the side, and then a second truck, and then a third. Startup runs $40,000 to $120,000 once it's all in. The MC number is only $300, but new authority insurance alone is $12,000 to $17,000 a year, plus a truck down payment, plus 3 months of operating reserve you'll burn before the first good check clears. So you put a second mortgage on the house, you sign the personal guarantee, and you know the number that haunts this level. Something like 85 to 90% of new owner-operators are gone inside 2 years, wiped out by cash flow and costs they never saw coming. You work 90-hour weeks anyway. There's a cot in the yard office. You catch your kids on the Sundays you're home. And then, year 3, it turns. 3 trucks, 3 good drivers, freight locked in on a dedicated lane, your name on paper that means something. A regional carrier drives out, walks your little yard, and slides a number across the table. $1.2 million. You walk the lot that night, diesel and cold air, and you do the math out loud to nobody. Then you take it. You sign in a glass building downtown with a lawyer who's never backed a trailer. Your name stays on the doors for 6 months. Then 1 week, the paint shop takes it off. You're 56. You drive past the old terminal about once a year. Your trucks are still running. Someone else's colors on them now. Someone else's name where yours used to be. You don't slow down. Your body wakes you at 4 a.m. out of pure habit. You can't sit an hour before the hip locks. The apnea machine hisses on the nightstand every night of your life now. Your feet are swollen by noon, and your back has a bend the road put there and never took out. But the kids got raised on it. The house is paid off. The things that actually mattered got there, the same way everything gets everywhere in this country. The miles were bad. The loneliness was worse. The body is a wreck the doctors just shrug at. But every single day, you moved something a whole country needed moved. Put food on tables you will never sit at, in towns you only ever saw at 3 a.m. That's the trade. That's the bill. That's the trucker's life.